Broadcasting live from Banjul, this is the news at 2200 hours. It's coming to you from the Gambia radio and television services. In our top stories, the political atmosphere reaches fever pitch as Saturday's presidential election edges closer, with 6 presidential candidates campaigning in the Kombo area and densely populated Kanafi municipality. We will bring you the latest on the campaign trail. The incumbent Adama Barrow prepares to lay the foundation stone for the construction of the ultra-modern health facility in Farata on Thursday. The Gambia Red Cross Society intensifies its COVID-19 response in the country, with launch of a new project on the impact of the infectious disease on vulnerable children. And as the globe commemorates World AIDS Day on December 1st, the United Nations calls for solidarity and more investment to end inequality and stigma in the fight against HIV/AIDS by 2030. Well, these plus many more stories coming ahead. Do stay with us. Welcome to the news at 10 with me, Fatmata Sise. We begin this edition with our exclusive coverage of the political campaign, starting with the National Unity Party, which has launched the second leg of its political campaign in the Greater Banjul area after 2 weeks in provincial Gambia. The NUP held meetings in Jiboro, Basuri, Lamin Kerawan, Welingara and Sokuta in the West Coast region, and their campaign trail is led by Secretary General and Standard Bearer Abdullah Ibrahima Jame, who has promised universal health coverage by providing good health care services for all Gambians if voted into office. We'll bring you details of that report by Usman Mane before the end of this newscast. Next, Honorable Halifa Sallah, the presidential candidate for the PDOIS-led coalition, continued public engagements with Gambians on Monday, while meeting electorates to deliberate on his party's transformative ideas that seek to introduce system change. Honorable Sallah is conducting face-to-face meetings with communities discussing his party's agenda. Yero Jalo tells us more.
Honorable Sallah went countrywide on campaign advocating for system change. He seeks to eradicate poverty, ignorance and injustice in the Gambia. On Monday, Sallah, together with his entourage, visited Jabang, Tauto, Latria and Sinchuri, among other places, discussing his party's transformative agenda. Sallah told his supporters that he wants to eradicate poverty, injustice and ignorance in the Gambia. He revealed that the transformative agenda aims to accelerate the building of self-reliance and self-determined economic base to ensure poverty eradication and sustainable development-centered socio-economic development.
Naki suñ amé meew mi dinañ ko jënd seen loxo def ko cheese def ko butter def ko yogurt su ko defee doomi réew mi am liggéey ñuy jaay loolu bitim réew loolu yëpp dafa isi alali réew mi ñu mun ko suqali ndax réew mi mun a jëm kanam.
The PDOIS standard bearer, while addressing a large gathering of youth, said system change is the way forward for the country. The experienced 68-year-old politician said his party's transformative agenda would create jobs for Gambians, particularly the young people, in many sectors of the economy, ranging from agriculture, fisheries, processing, and business, among others. He said the current system does not have the answers to the problems of the country, adding that there is need for a system change. Honorable Sallah said the PDOIS-led government would enable individual income and community income to rise proportionately to facilitate availability of affordable food, safe drinking water, sanitation, housing, and renewable energy for adequate quality and quantity to promote general welfare of both rural and urban dwellers. He disclosed plans that if voted into office, the national budget would be regionally shared to provide each region with funds to allocate to regional and district treasury accounts managed by regional councils and district councils. The firebrand parliamentarian stated that a PDOIS-led government would establish a sovereign national wealth fund to invest in the productive sectors of the economy, such as buying fishing trawlers and farm equipment for farmers.
te ñu ngi bay gerte fii mun nañ ko olbati mu nekk diwlin mu nekk saabu seen doom yi di liggéey ci factory yooyu xaalis boobu nga xam ne dem na mi réew dina toog ci suufi réew mi suqali koom-koomi réew mi ndax suñ doomi réew mi mu am liggéey.
The talk continues. For GRTS News, this is Zero Jallo reporting.
Next, the deputy leader of the United Democratic Party has described the UDP's five-point agenda as all-inclusive. Ajayi Amseka made the remark during a rally at New Yundum, and she said the five-point agenda of the UDP has a comprehensive program in addressing the healthcare needs of the country, education sector, agriculture and youth empowerment, among others. Babu Cham picks up the story.
It is another massive crowd at Yundum, a similitude to the Brikama rally. Anxious fans full of energy and enthusiasm stormed the park with trumpets, whistles and drumming, sending the crowd on their heels. Addressing the rally, the deputy leader of the United Democratic Party, Ajayi Amseka, described the UDP's five-point agenda as all-inclusive. She said the five-point agenda has a comprehensive program in addressing the healthcare needs of the country, education, agriculture, youth employment, amongst others.
5-point agenda. 5-point agenda. 17 points la. Point tani wala bije. Wa jurom len sitana. Bari wudula tombonje. Jurom yo mo priority. Wulu mudulo wala priority support. Sin form government. Ne masa kundalo. Wergu yaram gangsi. Jatkinde abijele. Jigéen ñang si. Musol bije. Ndaw yang si. Dinewal bije. Njanga mang si. Bije. Wergu yaram bang si. Jatkinde abije. Ñun ñep xam nañ ne. Londa ko.
The leader for Gambia for All, Bakari Bunya Dabo, emphasized the importance of the 2021 presidential election, noting that it is the only opportunity to effect change to reform the Gambia into a safe haven.
wala be election ko na tola lolu mo tele ci bobi election bi nimman Gambia bunda be din ko men kono so de Gambia ni election ni le mon sa last chance bi moy last chance ni chance yen dan chance bi surawe ka fo dawda akomo on tema hanye mu ne def fa fep gannaaw mo ñeme ñu wala tan ci election o muta mo ka dañu wara fonka election bi na kelo ko ñaaw ñama pour nga bo ñu wara he mu la gene tolde dalilo meyatina na parti Gambia for All ñun dalila bita ñu suñ parti Gambia for All ko nga deng mi nga UDP la candidat endorse ñu ne nañ bokka ñu endorse candidate UDP dalilo ñu bankola condition wala sula.
A one-time presidential aspirant, Marisol Jabate, enjoined all to conduct the election in peace. She noted that UDP always advised its supporters to be law-abiding, while calling on observers to take note of certain remarks by other politicians.
International body observing the election. Please advise the President of the Gambia to stay calm. We know he's nervous. And yes, Mr. President, you have every reason to be nervous. Your ministers are quitting. They are 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Your ambassadors, they are embarrassed. They are 1 foot in, they are 1 foot out. They have no faith in you. You have embarrassed your cabinet. They're just tagging along with you. till the end.
Tida Bobok Yere renewed her allegiance to the United Democratic Party, describing them as patriotic, committed, and resolute.
Wonderful compliments.
Speakers including Banyulindi Ward Councillor Abibangura, Kimo Sise, Landing Kote, Terema Dahaba, amongst others, implore on people to vote for UDP for enhanced socio-economic development. The rally also witnessed so many defectors demonstrating their allegiance to the United Democratic Party. Baucham, GRTS.
Independent candidate Esham Baifal promised to bring more infrastructure and social development for Gambians as he addressed a mass rally in Brikama, West Coast region on Monday. Fal's campaign trail with team turnaround continues ahead of polling day. Ibrahim Jallo is following the independent presidential candidate and brings us up to date.
This was the atmosphere in Brikama, as thousands of people, mainly youth, gathered for a mega rally in support of Esham Baifal, the only independent candidate of this year's presidential election in the Gambia. Several speakers at the meeting informed Mr. Fall of their challenges and development needs in the area and hoped that a government led by the Sobeya team leader would do better. They promised to fill the ballots in favor of Esham Baifal for victory in the race to the State House on Saturday. Esham Baifal promised to light up Brikama if elected president. He also vowed to build a modern market, hospital and roads in the town.
We will light up Brikama. We will light up Brikama. We will build the roads. We will bring electricity. We will bring schools. We will make sure that Brikama has the right and appropriate infrastructure.
He said Brikama is an important town in the country by virtue of population and geographical size and its contribution to the country's economy.
At least Muneka a second capital. Fimata Hauni. Mangi Tahau Chico. Why Mangi need the whole Brikama?
Mr. Fall promised to create jobs and increase salaries of civil servants for a decent and dignified life.
Low-cost housing so that poor people be new house.
Ibrahim Jallo, GRTS News.
Elsewhere, the GDC has been holding meetings in Jiboro, Marakisa, Makumbaya and Brikama in the West Coast region as political candidates tour the urban Gambia to mobilize votes ahead of the December election. Louis Mendy reports the people of the area pledge allegiance to the party leader, Mama Kande.
The people of Combo South were in jubilant mood at the receipt of the GDC-led coalition on Monday. In Nyofele and Tanye, both the old and the young couldn't hold their feet. Lamendi, one of the mobilizers for the GDC, said the party leader Mama Kandeh is the reason he has joined politics. Kandeh is the only politician in the history of this country using his personal resources to enhance the livelihood of the rural poor while not yet in power. With our taxes in his hands, he will develop the country, said Lamendi, calling on all Gambians to give Mama Kandeh a chance in the coming election. Wiyeh Sonko, who praised the people of Tanje and the surrounding villages for the massive turnout at the rallies, assured GDC of victory in the December polls. The Kombo South I know can't afford to vote for any other politician, said Wiyeh Sonko. For the women, the rising prices of food items, the recent insecurity that comes along with stealing and killing of innocent people are the reasons they lack faith in the government. We are voting for Mama Kandeh for change, they say. Having a voter's card is one thing, but voting is another, said Boubacar Jiba, encouraging all Gambians to vote to ensure the change they desire. The coastal settlements of Kombo South is blessed, said Yaya Tamba. The GDC-led coalition has plans to establish a seaport in the area and in other strategic places across the country to ensure river transport and to open the country to the rest of the world through Senegal, Guinea, and Mali for rapid socio-economic growth if it wins the election. The GDC will also reclaim ownership of our river, which is said to be characterized by illegal, irregular, and unreported fishing by foreign countries to the disadvantage of Gambians. The news was well received by the people, including independent political aspirant lawyer Martin, who is also part of the GDC-led coalition.
Honorable Mama Kandeh, we will train our skilled youths. Minuli along kona natural resources, we will take back ownership. This is I mean guarantee Mole, Kandeh Mole. Because all our fishing villages, Tanje, Sanyang, Gunjur, and everywhere, at quality. So I thought let's be mano jiben kamirin kana ni mano abe tinyari.
The Bijilo, Jabang, and Banyundi meetings also promised massive support to GDC. In Tanje, women and youth defected from other parties to GDC. Mama Kandeh promised to heal their sufferings and that of all Gambians if he wins the election. Mama Kandeh also said Kombo South is rich in human resource, the center for fishing and sand mining, but inhabitants are not reaping the benefits. I will change that if I win the election. Mama Kandeh closed the meetings by warning Gambians not to sell their voters' card. It is against the IEC electoral laws to buy and sell voters' cards, and the public should desist from that and endeavor to vote wisely. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Still on the campaign trail, the incumbent His Excellency Adama Barrow has revealed his government's plans to transform the Bakote dump site into a central garage and promise farmers that government will buy their groundnuts and increase this year's price to $28,000 per ton, above last year's price of $20,000. President Barrow was speaking during mass NPP rallies in Bakau and Serekunda. Mama J reports.
The last-minute campaign is drumming up excitement among electorates as politicians continue to convince voters to switch sides, especially the undecided voters. The campaign for the December 4th polls is in crunch time, with the NPP-led coalition targeting strategic constituencies like Bakau in the Kanifi municipality, where Alkali Bojang welcomed President Adama Barrow and his coalition team. The public relations officer of the NPP, Basiru Gassama, told communities in the coastal town of Bakau, which is also a tourist attraction area, that the key to their development is with President Adama Barrow, and called on the people of Bakau to vote massively for the NPP. Former Minister of Works of Balagaba Jahumpa, known as Action Man, hailed President Barrow's development projects, describing his coalition as titanic boat of development. APRC's first deputy party leader Usman Rambo Jatta said the people of Bakau have been opposition for more than 50 years and that it is now time for them to join President Adama Barrow and work together to develop their community. Mr. Rambo Jatta warned the Chief Executive Officer of the Independent Electoral Commission, Sambo Janjai, who is accused of being opposition UDP sympathizer. Meanwhile, 45 UDP supporters cross-carpet to the NPP, while a dozen other supporters from the APRC North Alliance joined the coalition. The Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmadulamin Samate, states that politics is all about development, highlighting President Barrow's numerous development projects in all sectors of life, including health. National President of the NPP, Dembo Bojang, alias Dembo by Force, explained how he left the opposition UDP to join the NPP. Dembo by Force denounced the UDP for what he called their tribal politics. The community of Bakau awarded President Adama Barrow, honorary citizen of Bakau, and present him with a key they believe to open all the kabilos in Bakau. Addressing the gathering, the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, thanked the community of Bakau for the kind gesture and promised to bring unprecedented development in Bakau, while assuring the coastal settlement of Bakau, especially the youth, that they will benefit a lot from the $50 million fishing project that is seeking to support and empower the youth. During the Bakau meeting, President Barrow reiterates his government's commitment to buy this year's groundnut from the groundnut farmers from a price tag of $20,000 per ton to $28,000 per ton. The NPP-led coalition wrapped up its meeting in Serekunda constituency with a grand meeting at the Serekunda Lower Basic School, where Alkali Sterin Sheikh Job assured President Barrow of a resounding victory in the December elections. Several speakers, including PPP's Abdoulaye Ba, Ndeye Ame Gajigo, Amadou Lee, and NPP's constituency chairman Sheikh Omar Saho, explained how they have been canvassing for last-minute votes with a door-to-door campaign. They appealed to the president to help them with a garage in Serekunda, provide them with skill centers for the youth, proper drainage system, and good road network, among others. Serekunda Lower Basic School, which was built in 1949, has a dilapidated structure with a student population of over 6,000, including the annex. The community of Serekunda appealed to the president to help rebuild the school. Pierre Minte of the APRC hailed President Barrow's new health insurance scheme, adding that even America, which is termed as the world economic superpowers, does not have a health care system that is offering free services to its people, and called on Gambians to vote for President Adama Barrow for more innovative developments. Former Agriculture Minister and member for Serekunda, Honorable Omar Amadou Jala, alias OJ, advised former President Yahya Jammeh to stay away from Gambia's internal politics for his best interest. OJ Jalo therefore called on the people of Serekunda to vote massively for President Adama Barrow. The Minister of Tourism and Culture and leader of the NRP, Honorable Ahmad Ba, began by paying tribute to Honorable Halifa Sallah, one of the presidential aspirants and current member of Serekunda, for the invaluable service he has rendered to the nation. Honorable Ba commended President Barrow for his democratic values, freedom of the press, independence of the judiciary and National Assembly, adding that Gambia is among the few countries with no political prisoners. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, promised to transform Serekunda into a modern city with good road network and drainage system. He explained how the Youth and Women Development Funds as well as the NYSS is supporting youth and promised to create more job opportunities for Gambian youth. He revealed plans to transform the backwater dump site into a central garage. Adama Barrow, the leader of the NPP, wants to shape the country's internal politics to a more constructive one that will be beneficial to the Gambia rather than clinching to a personal agenda. He called on the opposition to do away with the politics of character assassination and tribe, which he said has no place in the Gambia. Mama J, GRTS.
Meanwhile, the incumbent, His Excellency Adama Barrow, will lay the foundation stone for the construction of a Marine hospital with the capacity of 1,500 beds in Farato on Thursday. The health facility is expected to significantly address healthcare delivery in the country. Ahead of the grand ceremony, GRTC's Marian Jai Ajayi spoke to the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmadu Lamin Samate, about the monumental development. Here's an excerpt.
On Thursday is the foundation laying ceremony that's going to be carried out by His Excellency the President, Mr. Adama Barrow. It's going to be the foundation laying ceremony of the National Emergency Treatment Center. Now, when COVID-19 started, the COVID-19 pandemic, most countries did not have emergency treatment centers for infectious diseases or for other medical emergencies. Now, it had been a big challenge for many countries, including the Gambia. We battled to have places to put our COVID-19 patients. Then we came up with this idea that we need a permanent treatment site for the management of COVID-19 and any other future epidemics or pandemics. That is what brought about this emergency treatment center for COVID-19. Now, the participation of the partners, the donor partners in our COVID-19 response has been very useful. So as a country, what we decided to do, yes, as we deal with COVID-19, but we want to use it, the response, to also strengthen our health system. So the resources we are getting for the COVID-19 response, we believe should be spent in dealing with the response, but also in strengthening the health sector, the health system, to deal with the response and any future responses if needed. That is why we came up with this idea of having a national emergency treatment center. But to have a system that is able to react well, we thought of the other components. This national emergency treatment center will have 20 ICU beds. It will have 84 emergency treatment beds. The complex will also have our new National Public Health Laboratory. It will equally have our new National Blood Bank Services. It will have a conference center for the ministry, and it will equally have a training center for the ministry. Now, this complex is going...
Dr. Ahmadu Lamin Samate there, Minister of Health, speaking to Marian Jai Ajayi. And that takes us to a quick break. When we come back, the news continues right here on GRTS. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. And the Gambia Red Cross Society launched a project on the impacts of COVID-19 on vulnerable children on Monday. The project, funded by the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Movement, is earmarked to protect and assist vulnerable children in the North Bank and the Kanife municipality through cash assistance, food handouts and school items. Khadijatu Jallow attended the project launch and prepared this report.
The Gambia Red Cross Society with partners continue to support vulnerable population during these trying times of COVID-19 pandemic. This was highlighted by a speech made by Aissatou Ba, the focal point of the Gambia Red Cross Society during the launch of the humanitarian project.
The Child Protection COVID-19 project, funded by IFRC, at the tune of 12,000 CHF Swiss franc, which is equivalent to $600,000, to provide protection and assistance to the vulnerable children in the Gambia, with plans to be implemented in Farafenni North Bank region and Kanifing municipality.
Speaking on behalf of beneficiaries, the principals of Gambia Organization of Visually Impaired School, GOVI, and St. John's School for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing hailed the benefactor for the timely gesture, noting that the support comes at a time when they are battling resources. Red Cross officials, including President Yato Silla, Gambia Red Cross Society Secretary General Arasan Sengol, and International Federation of Red Cross officials, all renewed the organization's stance to help the vulnerable.
We were the first institution that singled out the vulnerable communities in terms of preparing them to prevent themselves from COVID. I remember here the very early days when we provided hand washing or hygiene material, but also at the very early stages, we provided some food because there was a lockdown and many people could not go out to buy food. And we had that assistance right from the beginning, before we even started providing cash to other vulnerable communities. So we are gathered here today to continue that journey.
The IFRC will continue to support the Gambian Red Cross to provide these services to the most vulnerable population of Gambia. One of these groups are the children, particularly the ones that have been identified for this project.
In Africa and out of Nairobi, we cover 49 countries. And we're currently responding since January 2020 in 48 African countries. So we are providing all the services: response services, relief services, preventive services, but as well, we are providing livelihood, psychosocial support, and we are trying to make sure that the community functioning is not very much disturbed by the pandemic.
The representative of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, our Senghor, promised to strengthen her ministry's partnership with Gambia Red Cross Society.
The ministry, my ministry, through the Directorate of Children, through the Directorate of Social Welfare, has been doing very important interventions to make sure that these children are protected. And the Gambia Red Cross Society coming up with this initiative gives us great pleasure to know that we are not alone in these interventions.
Gambia Red Cross Society is reaching out to needy communities at a time when the country is struggling from the devastating impacts of COVID-19. Khadijatu Jallow reporting for GRTS News.
Away from that, let's now take a look at the latest graduates to complete their study at the Gambia's Travel and Tourism Institute. Another batch of 188 trained tourism professionals graduated from the Institute of Travel and Tourism on Saturday. As Khadijatu Juara tells us, the young graduates are all set to join the travel and tourism hospitality sector after years of specialized training in various tourism specialties.
A fresh group of trained professionals graduate from the Institute of Travel and Tourism of the Gambia, which has become the top institution providing tourism education in the Gambia. The latest batch were trained in different areas of specialization, covering travel and various expertise in hospitality management. School head Sir Tijan Yang said the institution will continue promoting skills education across all the regions of the country and advise graduates to make best use of the opportunity gained.
We have, in the academic year, introduced a new practical course in cookery, pastry, and local food processing, which seems to be topping the list of intakes for this year. We say a big thank you once more to the Catalan Agency for Cooperation and Development and our partners, Ethnic Association of Spain, for financing the fully equipped kitchen to meet the requirements of a modern training facility.
Scores of young people are gaining viable and marketable skills from the Travel and Tourism Institute, which is now a center of excellence for tourism education, providing trained professionals for the country's hospitality sector. Tourism expert Dr. Adam Abba said sustainable youth education should be everyone's top priority for national development.
For entrepreneurship and other skills, knowledge to be enhanced, young people must be provided with leadership skills, leadership capacities, based on their knowledge of what they know, their skills of what they can do, and the right attitude of how they apply themselves.
Reporting for GRTS News, I am Khadija Tujuara.
Over now to World AIDS Day. The United Nations has called for increased solidarity and more investment to step up efforts to end inequality and stigma in the fight against HIV/AIDS by 2030 as the world prepares to commemorate the day tomorrow, December 1st. The United Nations resident coordinator in the Gambia, Seraphine Wakana, delivered a solidarity message appealing for more financial investment in vital public services to achieve universal health coverage for everyone. Take a listen.
The United Nations Secretary General message on World AIDS Day. On this World AIDS Day, we focus attention on the inequalities that drive HIV and AIDS. It is still possible to end the epidemic by 2030, but that will require stepped-up action and greater solidarity. The United Nations General Assembly recently adopted a bold new plan to accelerate progress, including new targets for 2025. To beat AIDS and build resilience against the pandemic of tomorrow, we need collective action. That includes hastening the leadership of communities to drive change, combating stigma, and eliminating discriminatory and punitive laws, policies, and practices. We must also dismantle financial barriers to healthcare and increase investment in vital public services to achieve universal health coverage for everyone and everywhere. This will ensure equal access to HIV prevention, testing, treatment, and care, including COVID-19 vaccinations and services. Together, let us recommit to end inequalities and end AIDS. That brings an end to this edition of the News at 10. But before we go, a quick look at our top stories once again. The political atmosphere reaches fever pitch as Saturday's presidential election edges closer with 6 presidential candidates campaigning in the Combo area and densely populated Kanifi municipality. President Barrow is scheduled to lay the foundation stone for the construction of an ultra-modern health facility in Farata on Thursday. The Gambia Red Cross Society is intensifying its COVID response in the country with the launch of a new project on the impact of the infectious disease on vulnerable children. Now, as the globe commemorates World AIDS Day on December 1st, the United Nations has called for solidarity and more investment to end inequality and stigma in the fight against HIV/AIDS by 2030. That was all in this edition of the News at 10 with me, Fatmata Sise. On behalf of the entire news team, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Do stay safe.